Eugene Cyril Geno Smith III is an American football quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks of the National Football League. He played college football at West Virginia, leading the Mountaineers to multiple bowl games, breaking numerous passing records, and garnering multiple awards before getting drafted by the New York Jets in the second round of the 2013 NFL Draft. After two inconsistent seasons as the Jets' starting quarterback, Smith eventually lost his starting position due to injuries in his final 2 years with the team. He has also spent time as the backup for the New York Giants, Los Angeles Chargers and Seattle Seahawks before unexpectedly making a career resurgence as the Seahawks starting quarterback in 2022. Early years. Smith was born to Eugene Smith Jr. and Tracy Seller in Lakemont, Georgia, on October 10, 1990. His great-uncle, Danny Smith, was a record-breaking All-American hurdler at Florida State, and his cousin Melvin Bratton was a star running back at Miami in the mid-1980s. His nickname, Geno, came from his grandfather, who was nicknamed Big Geno. Smith was admitted to Norland Middle School's Magnet program, which dedicated 2 hours per day to arts instruction. He went on to attend Miramar High School where he was coached by former Mountaineer Damon Cogdell. As a junior, he passed for 2,200 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, and was named second-team All-State quarterback. He was also named second-team All-Broward County as an athlete for 2007. Following his junior year he was invited to the prestigious Elite 11 quarterback camp in Aliso Viejo, California. During Smith's senior season, he led his team to the state 6A semifinals and completed 205 of 338 passes for 3,089 yards and 30 touchdowns while also rushing for over 300 yards. He was a first-team All-State selection in Florida Class 6A and a Parade All-American. He was also the number 1 rated player in Broward County according to the Miami Herald and South Florida Sun-Sentinel, and finished number 2 in the voting for Mr. Florida. He finished his career as the 3rd best passer in Broward County history, and was named to the ESPN Top 150 Prospects list. He chose to attend West Virginia over offers from Florida State, South Florida, Boston College, and Alabama. College career. Smith attended West Virginia University, where he played for the West Virginia Mountaineers football team from 2009 to 2012. He was an English major during his time at West Virginia. Freshman year. Smith saw some action his freshman year as the backup behind senior Jarrett Brown. His first snap in a regular season game came against Auburn. He completed 5 of 8 passes for 50 yards and 1 interception. He would see action again against Syracuse, Marshall, Louisville, and in the Gator Bowl against Florida State. In his freshman year at West Virginia University, Smith completed 32 of 49 passes for 309 yards, throwing 1 touchdown and 1 interception, and rushing for 7 yards on 17 attempts as the backup to starting quarterback Brown. He finished his freshman season with an 81.1 quarterback rating. Sophomore year. 2010 was Smith's first year as the starting quarterback. For the year, he completed 241 of 372 passes for 2,763 yards, throwing 24 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and rushing for 217 yards on 106 attempts. He got his first start in the season opener against the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. He completed 20 of 27 passes for 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception in the 31-0 victory. With the Mountaineers down 21-6 against in-state rival, Marshall, Smith led his team to a fourth-quarter comeback victory. Smith led the first drive from the Mountaineers' 4-yard line. With help from senior running back Noel Devine, the Mountaineers cut Marshall's lead to 8 points. After the Mountaineers' defense stopped Marshall, a punt put the Mountaineers near their own end zone again, starting from the 2-yard line. After completing 9 of 13 passes and scrambling for 20 yards, Smith found tight end Will Johnson in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. With Marshall still leading 21-19, head coach Bill Stewart elected to go for the 2-point conversion. Smith completed a pass to wide receiver Jock Sanders in the back of the end zone for a 2-point conversion. The Mountaineers went on to win the game in overtime by a score of 24-21. Smith finished the game completing 32 of 45 passes for 316 yards and 1 touchdown. He rushed for 13 yards on 14 attempts. After 2 games, Smith led the Big East in passing yards and passing efficiency. In a 31-17 victory over Maryland, Smith completed 19 of 29 pass attempts for 268 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. 2 of his touchdowns were to Tavon Austin, and 2 were to Stedman Bailey. Smith won his first Big East Offensive Player of the Week for this performance. In West Virginia's first meeting ever with LSU, the Mountaineers lost at Tiger Stadium by a score of 20-14. Smith completed 14 of 29 pass attempts for 119 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He rushed for 10 yards on 5 attempts. Smith threw for 220 yards and ran for 19 yards in West Virginia's 49-10 win over UNLV. It was the most points WVU had scored since playing Connecticut in 2007. In a 16-13 overtime loss to Connecticut, Smith was 22 for 34, throwing for 160 yards. He had a season high of 64 rushing yards. This was the first game all season Smith did not throw a touchdown pass. The loss was the first time Connecticut had ever beaten West Virginia. Smith tied his record for touchdowns in a game in a 37-10 win over Cincinnati, where he was 15 for 25, throwing for 174 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The win came after a 2-game losing streak. It was the first time the Mountaineers beat Cincinnati since 2007. Smith won his second Big East Offensive Player of the Week for this performance. On November 26, against Pittsburgh, he finished with 212 passing yards and 3 touchdowns in the 35-10 victory. In the next game against Rutgers, he had 352 passing yards and a touchdown in the 35-14 victory. He finished the 2010 season with 196 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception in the 23-7 loss to North Carolina State in the Champs Sports Bowl. Overall, in his sophomore season, Smith finished with 2,763 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Junior year. With the arrival of new West Virginia football head coach Dana Holgorsen and a new passing-based offensive system, Smith saw his passing numbers improve drastically. In the 4th game of the season against the number 2 LSU Tigers, Smith set school records for completions, attempts, and passing yards in the 47-21 loss on September 24, 2011. With 372 passing yards against the Cincinnati Bearcats on November 12, Smith tied a Big East record with his 7th 300-yard game of the season. He tied the record that was set in 2007 by Brian Brome of the Louisville Cardinals. He set single-season school records for pass completions, attempts, and yards on November 25 in a win against the rival Pittsburgh Panthers. All 3 records were previously held by Mark Bulger. In West Virginia's 70-33 rout of the Clemson Tigers in the 2012 Orange Bowl, Smith tied 3 individual bowl records: most touchdown passes, most touchdowns overall, and total points. Smith's 401 passing yards broke Tom Brady's Orange Bowl record of 396 that he set in the 2000 Orange Bowl. Smith also became the Big East single-season passing leader with 4,379 yards, breaking Brian Brome's mark that he set in 2007. Senior year. As a senior, Smith put together multiple great statistical performances for the Mountaineers. In the season-opening victory over Marshall, he finished 32 of 36 for 323 yards and 4 touchdowns. In the next game, a victory over James Madison, he finished 34 of 39 for 411 yards and 5 touchdowns. On September 29, against Baylor, he had a career day going 45 of 51 for 656 yards and 8 touchdown passes in the 70-63 victory. In the next game, a victory over Texas, he finished with 268 passing yards and 4 touchdowns to help lead the Mountaineers to a 5-0 record. After the win over Texas, the season started to falter for the Mountaineers. Despite some solid individual results, Smith and the Mountaineers dropped the next 5 games. On November 23, Smith had 236 passing yards and 2 touchdowns in a victory over Iowa State to stop the losing streak. In the regular season finale against Kansas, he finished 23 of 24 for 407 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception in the 59-10 victory. In the Pinstripe Bowl against Syracuse, he finished with 201 passing yards and 2 touchdowns in the 38-14 loss. Overall, in the 2012 season, Smith finished the season with 4,205 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. After the season, Smith officially announced to enter the 2013 NFL Draft. Awards and honors. All Big East Conference Second Team. All Big East Conference First Team. 4 times Big East Offensive Player of the Week. 2012 Orange Bowl Most Valuable Player. 3 times Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. 2 times National Offensive Player of the Week. College statistics. Professional career. Smith received an invitation to the NFL Scouting Combine where his performance was well received by scouts who highlighted his athleticism and strong arm but noted his ball placement needed improvement. Smith was widely regarded as one of the top prospects alongside E.J. Manuel of Florida State. In the days leading up to the draft, several NFL teams expressed interest in Smith including the Kansas City Chiefs, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Oakland Raiders, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Buffalo Bills, and the New York Jets. New York Jets. Draft and signing. 2013 season. 2014 season. 2015 season. 2016 season. New York Giants. On March 28, 2017, Smith signed with the New York Giants. On November 5, 2017, during Week 9 against the Los Angeles Rams, Smith came in the game in relief of Eli Manning late in the fourth quarter. Smith finished with only 2 incomplete passes, as the Giants lost 17-51. On November 28, 2017, the Giants named Smith the starter for the upcoming game against the Oakland Raiders, which ended Manning's 2-10-game starting streak with the Giants. The start made Smith the first black quarterback to start for the Giants and the first quarterback to start for both the Giants and the Jets. It also meant every NFL team had started a black player at quarterback, with the Giants being the last team to do so. Making his first start with the Giants on December 3, 2017 against the Raiders, Smith finished with 212 passing yards and a touchdown but had 2 first-half fumbles within the Raiders' 30-yard line and the Giants lost, 17-24. On December 5, Manning was renamed the starter. Los Angeles Chargers. On April 1, 2018, Smith signed a 1-year contract with the Los Angeles Chargers. During Week 6, Smith made his first appearance with the Chargers, completing 1 pass for 8 yards as the Chargers won 38-14 over the Cleveland Browns. Overall, Smith appeared in 5 games in the 2018 season in relief roles. Seattle Seahawks 2019 season, 2020 season, 2021 season, 2022 season. NFL career statistics. Jets franchise records. Most passing yards in a single season by a rookie quarterback, 3,046.